This game recap is brought to you by Manscaped's Foot Duster Foot Deodorant. Say goodbye to stinky foot funk with this essential deodorant spray. Head over to manscaped.com and use the promo code SACCITY for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. The Foot Duster Foot Deodorant by Manscaped. The best protection any place below the waist.
Now to the Bears and the Seattle Seahawks. Their Thursday night game, the recap of that. The Bears defeated the Seahawks 27-11. This game here, we talked about it in our preview show. It was going to be a lot had to do with Geno Smith in this game. And I don't know about you guys, but to me, it just never looked like Geno Smith had a rhythm with this offense through his time playing against the Bears defense. It just never seemed like they were on the same page. And we talked about it on our show. I think it opened up the door for Drew Lock to come in and be the hero and win the starting job for week one. Aaron, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so I didn't get to watch much of this one, but when I got back to work, I turned on the first quarter and a little bit into the second quarter just to rewatch it and see what happened. Wasn't a big fan of what Geno Smith did. Didn't stand out particularly well. The only thing I'll say is I'm kind of getting fed up. I guess at this point, I know we're previewing preseason and stuff, but these teams that just aren't playing anybody in the preseason, it's killing the product. It's killing these opportunities that guys do have. I'm sorry. How can you really evaluate Geno Smith without DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett? Like, you want to evaluate a guy with fourth stringers? Like, I get it. Like, he's supposed to elevate them, but are you really giving your players the best opportunities to succeed? And I think this is a problem in the NFL with the preseason. Like, we have got to either eliminate the preseason, and unfortunately for those players that are trying to fight to make rosters, you got to do it in practice, or let's give these guys some game action. And I just it's boring. And it's not only boring, but then I don't get to see what I want to see from a Geno Smith, because I don't care what kind of connection Geno Smith has with the practice squad player, because they probably don't have a good one. But Geno Smith, if you're taking first team reps in practice, who are you throwing the ball to? You're throwing it to DK Metcalf. So, and then you expect him to be in rhythm with other guys. Like, I'm not a fan of this style of play that we're seeing in preseason. Week 2 now, Justin Fields, 5 of 7, plays a little bit. Geno Smith plays, but nobody on his offense plays. Kenneth Walker's out. He has no running backs there. He has no receivers, no weapons, and yet we're going to evaluate him as whether he's our starting quarterback or not. And this is not to defend Geno Smith, because he didn't play well. And yes, probably does give a direct line to Drew Lock becoming the starter. But guess what? You put Drew Lock out there, and you might be in the same situation if Chicago has a few starters on defense. So I don't like the way this is trending. Guys have got to play. I'm not saying they have to play the entire game, but if you're evaluating positions on teams like the Seattle Seahawks that are so young and evaluating that quarterback position, you have to give him the pieces to succeed. And if not, then what the hell is the point?
You know what I thought while watching this game, Aaron? Like, you literally popped up in my head, and I thought summer league basketball was what I was watching. Like, it was just sloppy. It was boring. I'll say this, it made it a little easier for me to focus on the work I was trying to get done quickly, because, like, there was nothing to watch. Like, my head did turn up because at one point in time in the game, they did put Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf on the field, but I don't know if it was even for more than a play or two. With Geno Smith, and it was like, oh, breaking news, they're gonna play, and then I don't think I ever saw them again. I'm with you. I think that something you guys said the other day too might be real, and these coaches may be trying to be like, screw the preseason, we're gonna do this every year until you decide we're taking it away. You know, it wasn't great to watch. And I'm with you. I think Drew Lock caught a big break. I was talking about the break about it being, 10 days before he has to play again. But now Geno Smith went in there, and there was nothing inspiring, despite who he had. Now Drew Lock gets to go in there, probably for about 3 quarters, which Geno Smith didn't even get to play like they said he would, probably for at least the first half with the ones, and have every opportunity to be this starter, which kind of leads back to what we were talking about with the trade, that maybe they just want Drew Lock to be the starter. And I'm not saying they fabricated COVID or anything, but it's looking like he's getting the best opportunity either way. So I'm hoping that Geno Smith also gets some run next week with the ones, so they can really actually evaluate this. Because if you're just going to do it in practice behind closed doors anyways, what's the hell the point?
Are we sure the ones are going to play next week? Like, I mean, and I don't buy DK Metcalf, and you watched more of the game than I did. I'm sure they did get in the game, but DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett had 0 targets.
Yeah,
they weren't playing football.
I looked, there's nothing on the receiving.
They weren't playing football. So whatever they were doing in the game, it was for show or something. They were in there on run play. I don't know. They weren't playing football. And I'm if you're not going to play week 2, what makes me think you're going to play week 3? Like, we only got 3 of them. And if the NFL eliminates the preseason, then all they're going to do is start complaining, because guess what's going to happen week 1 when half the NFL rosters die because they haven't played football. That's the way football works. If you don't play it and you start getting hit, you hurt. Your body breaks down. So, and they don't hit in practice. I don't care that the product is not good because there's backups in the game. Like, I get it. You're not getting the elite level talent. The product is going to suffer. But these teams, I'm more stressing the teams like the Bears and the Seahawks. These guys they have battles going on for positions, and the guys that are battling rely on those other guys to help them. It's a team sport. And it's like telling a running back, hey, you're fighting for your job here. We're starting all of our practice squad linemen. And telling him to go earn the starting job. You're like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm not going to be running behind these guys. Like, I need help. This is a team sport. And these teams are not giving it to these players. And it's frustrating to me. Quarterback controversies, teams that are battling, they should be putting their guys out there so they can see who the best guy for the job is. And that is not happening right now in Seattle.
Poor Geno Smith. Poor Geno Smith. I do feel like Geno Smith is the better option for the Seattle Seahawks here, and I think you're right. It's been not a fair shot, at least in these games, to see what he could actually do. And now Drew Lock will probably, if you're Seattle next week, you put both of them. You put Drew Lock in for a half, you put Geno Smith in for a half, but then you have to concern yourself with who they're throwing to. I don't know. I don't know how you solve this.
If you're Seattle, you start Drew Lock the entire game. I'm dead serious about this. I think back to the days, and I know, again, I always make reference to the Cowboys because I've watched them so closely. I think back to the days when Drew Bledsoe was with the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo was on the roster, and Bill Parcells told him before the Seattle preseason game, he said, you're taking every snap. Doesn't happen in the NFL. He said, you're taking every snap in this game. And that was the minute he knew Tony Romo was going to be his next quarterback, because he played with the 1s, he played with the 2s, he played with the 3s, and he played with the 4s and 5s or whatever. He was able to evaluate him with the talent that was on the field and said, I see something in this quarterback. And we can all argue about what Tony Romo was or wasn't, but he was a starter in this league for a very long time with a lot of records and a lot of numbers. And that, to me, that is what you want from the guy you're trying to determine if that's your guy. So if you're Drew Lock and you said, okay, I've seen Geno. He's been a veteran in this league. Drew Lock is the younger player. You're going to go out and play with the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s, earn the job. And if you don't get it done or you don't show me that you have that promise, then I can always fall back to Geno Smith, because I know what that guy is. I've seen him in the league for 8-9 years.
Yeah. It's a fair point.
Yep.
Point.
The Seahawks did lose their starting left guard, who was carted off the field with a leg injury, Damian Lewis. It was a very awkward play. I'm not sure if you guys caught it, but it was just like, it was 2 players colliding, but they're more like tangled up. The Bears player got up and he was fine, and then Damian Lewis was carted off. And at first I got a little scared. I thought it was Charles Cross. I was like, because Charles Cross is 68 and Damian Lewis is 67, or maybe vice versa. And I saw it. I was like, oh shit. Is that Charles Cross? And this is the reason why they don't play starters that much. But then I did see it was Damian Lewis, and still that's a big piece of their offensive line. So we'll update everybody on the news as we get that as well on our social media pages. Aaron, what is the rest of the injury updates in the NFL?
We need to go back. To be fair to Bears, we were recapping the Seahawks and the Bears, and we said nothing about the Bears. We absolutely said nothing about the Bears.
Talk about.
I get it, but we got to show Bears fans some love. So I will show the Bears fans some love really quickly. The Bears are 2-0. The Bears are 2-0, man. You guys should be proud to be 2-0. Justin Fields looked good, 5 of 7, came in, got out, but he should have played longer. And Nathan Peterman, man, he's still in the league doing his thing. But the big thing is they're 2-0. Nobody played again. I talked about it. I don't understand it. They have so many positions of need, so many position battles, and nobody's on the field. Nobody.
If we're really getting into the Bears here, if I'm the Bears, I'm happy that they're 2-0 in preseason, but that offensive line is going to get Justin Fields killed. That offensive line is going to get and this is preseason that this is happening to Justin.
But we know that. But we know that. Justin Fields is going to be running it for his life. That was always going to be the plan because he came into a situation that had no plan for the offensive line. And then when they go and get guys like who was their pick 2 years ago? Why can't I? The lineman, Oklahoma State. Tevin Jenkins. And he hasn't looked good at all since he's been there. So they're going to struggle. Justin Fields is the right guy to be behind that line, though, if it's going to be anybody. Because if you have a statue, they're dead. If you have Justin Fields, at least you got a shot.
There was some NFC North hate near the end of the game. They were talking about how the Chicago Bears are 2-0, and Dan Orlovsky was on the broadcast, and he's like, that 0-16 Detroit Lions team I was on, we were 4-0 in the preseason, and we looked good. But they went 0-16. And he's basically saying this team in the preseason, enjoy it, be proud. It's going to be a tough 17 weeks.
Bears are going to be a bad football team. All right, now, Vinny, we can get into the injury report. I'll go through it really quickly. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell told reporters Irv Smith underwent some thumb surgery, but he is supposed to be back to play week 1. So we're all excited about that. I know you guys have been excited about this Minnesota Vikings offense and maybe some of the changes. One of the big changes that we didn't see last year, obviously, was having Irv Smith there. He'll be there now. I think that does help that offense maybe even grow just a little bit more than they already had. Tristan Wirfs, another offensive lineman for the Buccaneers. It's more trouble. Strained oblique in Thursday's practice. We don't know how long he's going to be sidelined, but he also just came back from an ankle injury or ankle surgery. So there's obviously some trouble there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive lineman. And then Tyler Linderbaum is expected to return to practice. We had talked about the issues going on with him. Harbaugh said he's expected to return. The foot injury, there was some questions whether it was Liz Frank, but Dr. Harbaugh said it was not part of the Liz Frank injury, and we all know he knows best. So yeah, that was some of the injuries that took place on this beautiful Friday morning. I'm sure there'll be plenty more by the time the weekend's over and week 2 of preseason ends. But good start. Not too much going on.
It's good. It's a good way to start the weekend with not a lot of injuries. AJ, load up those golden pipes and tell the beautiful people where they can follow us at.